It's time to kickstart your Tuesday.
Patton Kizzire breaks through with a win on the PGA Tour. Kevin Sutherland has clinched the Charles Schwab Cup.
After picking up their first wins of the season, we've got a pair of champions on the show today. Was Kevin Sutherland aware of Bernhard Langer making a charge on Sunday? And after grabbing his first PGA Tour victory, does Patton Kizzire have a home field advantage at Sea Island this week? We'll ask. Just two men have a chance to chase down Tommy Fleetwood as the race to Dubai reaches its climax this weekend. Our lead coach is here to show you how Justin Rose has been preparing to cause drama in the desert. And the race is also reaching its conclusion for the CME Globe. Our insider is here with the latest on points leader Lexi Thompson, plus find out which of the chasers has a swing resembling Rory McIlroy. It's all ahead on Morning Drive this Tuesday, November 14th, 2017. And welcome and thank you for starting your day with us. I'm Cara Banks and I'm not alone. As you can see, I promise I've got lots of friends with me today. We've got Travis Fulton, Lauren Thompson, Matt Janella in the house and plenty coming up across the next 2 hours. So let's start by saying good morning to LT and Maddie G.
Hello, Cara. Hello to you, Matt Janella.
Good morning, LT.
Good morning. Glad to be in Studio AP with all of you joining in at home as well. Now, we've got a lot of fun going on social media already this week. Check this out. Andrew Beef Johnston, he's playing in the RSM Classic. And he and his boy Gordon Faulkner supposedly staying in bunk beds.
Bunk beds. So much room for activities.
You've clearly seen the movie Step Brothers. Much more from social media coming up today on Morning Drive. But for now, back to you, Cara Banks.
I cannot believe that they're going to sleep in those bunk beds across the next 4 days or a whole week. But we'll wait and see. Let's get to what is happening this week in golf. And Matt Fitzpatrick is part of a stellar field that heads to Dubai, where he will defend the title he won as his third career victory on the European Tour. But it was Henrik Stenson who won the 2016 race to Dubai, and this year only Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose and Sergio Garcia have a chance to win the season-long race. Meanwhile, the PGA Tour embarks on its final event in the 2017 calendar year before taking a 6-week break and resuming in January. It is Mac Hughes who will defend his only PGA Tour title after emerging victorious from that 5-man playoff that ran into Monday at Sea Island last year. And Charlie Hull arrives in Naples, Florida as the defending champion of the CME Group Tour Championship, which became her first LPGA Tour victory last year. This is the 4th year of the season-long race to the CME Globe, where each of the top 5 in standings would automatically win the race with a triumph at Tiburon. So let's take a look at the reset points, where you can clearly see who makes up the top 5. Now, Lexi Thompson is looking to put a cap on what has been an up and down year. We actually have some notes from our insider on that in just a moment. Sung Hyun Park, who recently spent a week at world number 1, is attempting to wrap up an historic season, having already secured Rookie of the Year honors. While Shan Chamfung, the new world number 1, has just gone back-to-back in Asia and arguably enters this week as the tour's hottest player. For now, though, let's say good morning to our Golf Channel Academy lead coach, Travis Fulton, for more on the world number 4.
All right, good morning, everyone. And yes, Lexi Thompson, currently first CME Globe. She's been doing it all year with her ball striking. She's one of the longest hitters on the PGA Tour, currently 3rd in driving distance, and she takes full advantage of that distance. First in greens in regulation. This is a golf swing that I look at a lot. I use it for examples with a lot of students to show how to recruit, the recruitment of power. I use that term a lot here on Morning Drive. And I want to point out 3 things here in the backswing that I think you can learn from the leader right now in the CME Globe. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to draw a line here across the cap and show where her head is starting, and I want you to take note on how her head turns early here in the backswing. So here we go. We're going to take this halfway back. I love the structure of the arms, hands, golf club early in the backswing here, and look at the head. The head is turning to the right a good 10-15 degrees. You can see the brim of her cap kind of dropping down under that line. I like that. Everything together and turning early in the backswing. Now, we're going to continue on here, and as she gets to the 3/4 position, left arm parallel, look at her shoulders here. Her shoulders are already turned 90 degrees. We're going to bring another line in here. When you have good structure between the arms and the club, what I mean by that is the shaft staying in line with the lead arm. And when it stays in line, this left shoulder has to travel across. I see so many of you at home where you get it out of line early and that left shoulder doesn't travel across. I love that combination. In line, heads turning, shoulders very aggressive to the 3/4 position. Now, here we go. She's not done turning yet. She's got to keep up with her brothers at a young age. That's when she learned how to hit it hard. And look at this, well past parallel. And the third component here, look at that left knee. That left knee pointing behind the golf ball. I see a lot of you at home too stable in the knees here. You're taking it back. You're trying to stay too static, or you're swaying this way. Let that left knee travel and point behind the golf ball. This is a big league windup. Heads turning, good structure, getting those shoulders to turn early and often with the left knee behind the golf ball. So here we go. Now, on the way down, one of my favorite moves in golf, you turn into the lead arm. And when you turn into the lead arm, it's going to keep you very much structured where your legs are underneath the sternum. Look at there, belt buckle to the chin, just an ever so slightly bit of tilt to the right. What I mean by that, if you take your left arm, you just put it up against the wall, and I start turning into that wall. I'm turning into that lead arm. My left arm's against my body here. Look at the structure between my lower body and my upper. I'm not going this way where it's blasting off my body. Now I'm leaning to the left, and I'm not dropping it either where I'm falling back to the right. I'm turning into the lead arm, really positions her now. Watch this as we eliminate that line, and we know what she does through impact. She's turning on the jet. Let's go ahead and continue through. So much so, again, had to keep up with her brothers at an early age as she's springing up off the ground. I love this golf swing. It's 100% full tilt. I think some things that you can learn from that perhaps will help you hit the golf ball a little longer off the tee. Cara, back to you.
Travis, I've just learned more than you know early on a Tuesday morning. That was fascinating. Thank you. But it is time now to welcome in our insider as we take a peek inside Rosie's notebook. Good morning, Tim Rosefort.
Good morning, Cara. Great to be here.
Great to have you.
Let's
continue the conversation on Lexi Thompson. She had a really tough start to the year for a couple of reasons, but she's had some good news come out of Team Thompson recently. What's that?
She really has. I had heard from some sources that her mom, Judy, who had been diagnosed with uterine cancer right just after Lexi wins at Kingsmill. And obviously it was a long summer for her, going through the anxiety of not knowing what's going to happen. She recently, a month ago, received a clear diagnosis. She's beaten cancer now for the second time. She also went through breast cancer at one point in time. She's back to work. Judy's worked as a dental hygienist at the same dentist down in Plantation, Florida for 44 years. She said she had to keep going after it because it was a way to keep her mind busy. And you can just tell by this photo why Lexi calls her best friend, you know, someone that obviously she's confided in and wants to travel with and wants to be on the road with. And finally, after she was at the Solheim Cup, but without the type of great news that she just received. And she's down there in Naples. She checked out of work and there for a chance to experience possibly watching her daughter win the CMA Globe title and all the money that goes with that. So great news for Lexi and the golf world, and those that know Lexi, as I have for 10 years since she was back a 12-year-old kid, to go through that at 22 where you're trying to beat some of the best players in the world. Obviously a tough task and a tough summer for her, but good to see a smile on her face again.
Yeah, really great news. So pleased to hear that for all of the Thompson family. And as you say, tough thing to go through at her young age, yet she's still leading these race to the CME Globe standings. And really, she said after all the struggles that happened at the ANA Inspiration earlier this year, her parents are the only ones that she seeks solace in. So very good, close relationship between that Thompson family. Now, you broke the news last week, Tim, that Brandt Snedeker will be returning to competitive action this week after recovering from a sternum joint injury that meant he was unable to swing a club for 9 weeks. Just how tough was it for him to sit out for that long?
Well, it was real tough because, first of all, he didn't have a date or a time for when he could start hitting golf balls again. It's a type of injury that occurs more in the NFL than it does in golf, so there's no surgery for it. It's just rest and a little bit of stretching. But the problem for him, the anxiety was that he missed all his favorite golf tournaments, the last 2 majors of the year, 3 tournaments sponsor that he wears on his hat, and that he has affiliations and relationships with. And then, of course, the playoffs, where he won the FedEx Cup. He's had to sit the entire playoffs out. So it was good news. Recently, he and John Tillery got together. They put together, sort of melded a hybrid sort of swing that gets him to swing around some of the pain that he gets. But so far in his practice drills, and he's gone at it pretty hard, doctors have said, look, push it to see where it is. It's responded fine. So let's just see as he returns to where he used to live, down at Sea Island, a place he's comfortable with, where he used to go throw the bag over his shoulder and go out and play Frederica to get ready to play the tour. The comforts of that, plus the fact that he's out playing golf again, and will be down in Naples in a couple of weeks in December with Bubba Watson as his new partner, will be interesting to see how it shapes out for Sneds these last two tournaments and how it leads into 2018 already.
Could well have been a member of that President's Cup team as well, should he not have had
that destroyed him. He couldn't watch it. He had to go down to Bahamas. He couldn't. Team play is so much. He wanted to play for Stricker so bad, and he just had to kind of hide that week.
Trying to avoid the TV. Well, Brandon Grace, meanwhile, he didn't hide. He managed to win the event that is fondly regarded as South Africa's major. Right. Now, that just happened this weekend, and his triumph at Nedbank is maybe another sign, Rosie, that this guy might be the next great from South Africa.
Well, you thought that, Car. You know, remember in 2012, the same year Rory wins the five tournaments plus a major. Here's this kid, Brandon Grace, that nobody really knew about back then, except for Ernie Els and some of the guys that knew the pipeline. And here's Grace winning 5 times. And you look at the body of work since then, it really hasn't taken off for him, but there have been signs where he wins the European Tour event, beating Els and Goosen in a playoff. He goes 5-0 in those 2015 President's Cup, and then he's one shot away from maybe winning a major championship at Chambers Bay. Remember, he hits the shot that runs down the rail line out of bounds at the end of that golf tournament. 216, he's a low ball hitter. Ernie predicted that he was going to do well up at Hilton Head, and he goes out and wins for the first time on tour. And now here he does this. And catching up with Gary Player this morning, very impressed with this young man. He said he's proper. He's a proper gentleman. He's well behaved, I think was the word that he used to describe him. But there's a lot of talent there, and nobody too surprised when he went out this summer at the Open Championships at the all-time lowest score in major championship history, broke the 63 barrier, shot the 62, no bogeys, 8 birdies, and he's got Zach on the bag, Zach Rashizo, who you know, probably pronounce the name better. And here's the card. Had to save this card because this, 10, 15, 20 years when I pull this out and look at the details of this round, I think it'll still be standing as the lowest, especially if some of the World Golf organizations start to tighten up golf courses after what we saw not only at Erin Hills, but obviously at Royal Birkdale. Yeah,
that was a special time, and no doubt you found out about what Gary Player thinks of this young South African. He had the Black Knight on the cell phone in our newsroom at 5:45 this morning. I was very impressed, and he has made home for himself in Florida now. He's one of the South African contingents down at Old Palm. There's a few of them there, so you're going to stick around, aren't you? Because you've actually got more from us on another winner this weekend in Patton Kizzire.
Patton Kizzire, kind of, although he's from Alabama, he's going home to Sea Island. We'll have more details with Matty G.
There's a tease. All right, perfect. Looking forward to it. Good to have Tim Roseford at the house, LT.
Awesome. All right. Well, still ahead, we've got more across a lot of the bases in golf, including our season-ending champion on the PGA Tour champions. Matt Adams, though, he's going to give you the goods on Kevin Sutherland's winning driver and how its technology helped him capture the Charles Schwab Cup in Phoenix. Plus, he's considered the father of American golf course architecture. He created the first 18-hole layout in the States. He's also the U.S. Amateur Champion and World Golf Hall of Fame member. But why are we talking about CB McDonald today? Well, stick around and you'll see for yourself. Plus, how about our winner in Mexico, Patton Kizzire? Carr was touching on this moments ago. He may be an Auburn Tiger, but his move to where the RSM Classic is this week has made it a bit of a homecoming. Our Golf Channel insider Tim Roseford, he's going to open back up that notebook on our most recent PGA Tour winner and the backstory on his switch to Sea Island as his home. Well, it's an area of the Southeast that our travel insider has become well acquainted with as we say good morning again to Matt Janella. Hey, Matt.
Good morning, LT. Thank you. Good morning to you. Coming up on today's show, we're going to take a tour of all that makes Sea Island so special. Plus, big news coming out of Sea Island. $25 million investment being done over the course of the next 2 years. We're going to tell you where and how and who's going to make some of the adjustments. That and a lot more right here on Morning Drive.